Welcome to episode 76 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we will continue with the tales of Troy and the story of Pandarus. The gods had gathered in a great assembly in Olympus. Hebe went in and out among the tables, pouring nectar, and the immortals drank to one and another from golden cups, and looked down on Troy. It was then that Zeus and Hera resolved to destroy the city. The father of all gods turned to his daughter Athene and told her to hasten to the battlefield and incite the Trojans to break the treaty they had agreed to by insulting the Argives who were celebrating their victory. So Pallas Athene assumed the form of Laoticus, son of Antenor, and mingled with the Trojans. She sought out the son Lycaon, haughty Pandarus, whom she regarded as well suited to perform what her father had ordered. Pandarus was an ally of Troy and had come from Lycia, bringing with him many warriors. The goddess soon found him standing among his men, and she touched him lightly on the shoulder and said, "Listen to me, wise Pandarus. Now is the time to do a deed which will win you the gratitude and praise of all the Trojans, above all of Paris, who will doubtlessly reward you with priceless gifts. Do you see Menelaus over there, so arrogant, so proud of his victory? Why not launch an arrow at him if you dare?" So the goddess said in her disguise, and the foolish heart of Pandarus was stirred by her words. Swiftly he took his bow, lifted the lid of his quiver, selected a feathered shaft, and fitted it to the string, which twanged as the arrow was released. But Athene guided it to Menelaus' belt, so that though it pierced the leather and the armor, it only scratched the skin. Even so, blood oozed from the wound, and a shudder shook Menelaus. Agamemnon and his friends surrounded him in consternation. "Dear brother," cried the king, "we have made a treaty that brings death to you, for our tricky foes have disregarded it. They shall atone for this, and I know that the day will come when Troy and Priam, with all their people, will fall. But your wound fills me with bitter grief. If I return without you, if your bones molder in Trojan earth, and the work we set out to do is not accomplished, what disgrace awaits me in my native land? For without you, I am not destined to vanquish Troy and carry Helen off. And the Trojans will trample on your grave and speak of me with contempt. If only the earth would open to devour me." But Menelaus confronted his brother. "Calm yourself," he said. "My wound is not fatal. My belt has protected me." "If only it be so," sighed Agamemnon, and quickly dispatched a herald to summon Machaon, versed in the art of healing. He came, drew out the arrow, unclasped the belt, opened the armor, and examined the wound. Then he sucked the blood welling from it with his own lips and applied a soothing salve. While the physician and the heroes busied themselves about Menelaus, the Trojan troops were already advancing. The Argives, too, girt on their armor again, and Agamemnon entrusted his horses and chariot to Eurymedon with orders to bring them to him, should he see him grow weary from striding through the ranks on foot. Then he went among the rows of his warriors and spurred them to battle, praising the bold and admonishing those who hung back. In this way he came to the Cretans, grouped around their leader, Idomeneus, who stood among them, raging to fight like an angry bear. When Agamemnon saw this brave array, his heart grew light. "You are one of the very best, Idomeneus," he called to him. "You excel in everything, in war, at the banquet, when the sparkling wine is blended in great pitchers, while the rest drink their modest measure. Your cup is always full as mine. But now you shall go with me to fight, as you so often swore you would." "I shall indeed be a faithful comrade in arms to you," answered Idomeneus. "Go and drive others on. I have no need of that. May death and destruction overtake those breakers of treaties, the Trojans." And now Agamemnon had come up with the two Argives, in whose wake seethed a tide of foot soldiers. The king called to them as he hurried by. If only courage such as yours quickened the spirits of all Argives, Priam's fortress would soon fall. Going on further, he saw Nestor engaged in drawing up his men. In the van he placed the warriors with horses and chariots. In the rear, many and brave men on foot, and wedged between them 2 bulwarks, the cowards. And while he was drawing them up in this way, he exhorted them with wise words. Let no one venture forward too far with his chariot, and let no one retreat. If chariot strikes on chariot, hold out the lance. When Agamemnon heard him counseling his men thus, he cried, Old man, may your knees obey you, and may the vigor of your body match the courage which still beats in your breast. If only another could take from you the burden of age, if only you were young again. How should I like to be as I once was? Nestor replied. But the gods do not give a man all things all times. So now the young shall hurl the spear while I do my part with the words of wise counsel age can give. Agamemnon went on and found Menelaus, son of Patrus. Around him the Athenians clustered, and beside him were Cephalonia, under the command of Odysseus. Both battalions were waiting to let others storm on before. This vexed the king, and he said to them gruffly, Why do you huddle together, waiting for others to bear the brunt of danger? When we dine on roast meat and drink wine, you are always the first. But now it would not displease you to see 10 other Argive troops precede you in battle. Odysseus scowled at him and said, What is this you say, son of Atreus? You call us loiterers? Just wait until we break forth, and you will see with what vengeance we press the fury of the fight against the Trojans, and how I shall go ahead of all. So do not be so quick with ill-considered words. When Agamemnon saw the hero roused against him, he answered smilingly, Well, I know, noble son Laertes, that you need neither reproof nor counsel, and at heart you are as gentle as I, so let us not speak harsh words to one another. And he left him and hastened on. Next, he encountered the son of Tydeus, proud Diomedes, standing in his magnificent chariot next to Sthenelus, son of Capaneus, his friend and charioteer. To him, too, he expressed displeasure in order to test him. It seems, he says, that the son of Tydeus is looking about in dismay. How different your father was when he fought against Thebes. He was always in the thick of battle. Diomedes heard the reproof of his king in silence. His friend Sthenelus answered for him. You know better, son of Atreus, he said. We can boast of greater prowess than our fathers, for we conquered that very Thebes before which they failed. But Diomedes interrupted his friend and said sternly, Say no more. I do not blame the king for urging the Danai on to battle. It is he who has the glory if we win. It is he who bears loss and grief if we fail. So let us keep off defeat. With that, Diomedes leaped down from the chariot, and his bronze breastplate rang. Troop after troop, like waves rushing in upon the shore, the Argives fared forth to battle. The leaders shouted commands. The men marched in silence. The Trojans, on the other hand, were as noisy as a flock of bleating sheep, and the tongues of many different people could be heard from their ranks. And through all that clamor rang the battle cry of the gods. Ares, the war god, rallied the courage of the Trojans, and Pallas Athene fired the hearts of the Argives. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.